that's the kind of blackness it was. It doesn't change
Mm.
anything. It's just black. And but I could feel things. I could see things faintly kind of come into my uh, vision and then
Mhm.
fade away. None of the words were really intelligible. I couldn't make out many words. A lot of images, nothing would, everything would just kind of come and then fade away, like almost like smoke. Um, but it felt like everything was there. It felt like all possibility was there. And it felt like love the same way that people, describe the light. It felt like love. It felt like home. It felt like it was important for me to be in that space, you know.
Mm.
And at some point I was floating out of that space and I could look down at it. And the behavior was similar as it was when I was in it, very responsive to me and my thoughts. But it was more obvious when I was looking down at it from above it
Mhm.
that it really responded to my thoughts. Any um, moment where there wasn't clarity, complete clarity, um, I could just look in the void and there would be a slight movement, maybe a slight color change. Nothing, no image that was clear,
Mhm.
but instant clarity before the confusion was even articulated inside of me. The clarity I received it just staring into the void. Um, and it's in a similar way, that's how all of my learning occurred while I was out of my body and in space. Because as I came out of the void, I could see space, different aspects of space. Um, I saw a star forming region and sacred space. Everything else that I saw, when I looked at it, the distance between me and it totally disappeared, and I was pretty much on the other side of it. Looking back and I knew what it was, and I was one with it, almost um, like the space that I covered became part of my awareness. Like I knew everything that was in the space that I covered as I traveled around.
Mhm.
Everything that I looked at, I understood what it was after the distance between me and it disappeared. Um, the star forming region, the difference between it and other things is that I didn't go into it. I kind of hovered around the clouds and didn't go into the middle of it where the faint lights were, where the stars were being born. Because that's the
Mhm.
thought that I had when I looked at it is that, oh, so this is where stars are born. And I
Mm.
remember that thought clearly. And it felt sacred. It really felt like a sacred place. And it was the only place, like I said, that I didn't just go straight into the middle of it like I did everything else. Like I just moved through everything else without any hesitation. But there
Mhm.
I kind of paused and it's like I revered it. I stared at the star forming region. Um, the only thing that I stared at long as I stared at the black hole or the void was that star forming region because it was just as compelling to me, as the void was. And but then I looked up into the right and I could see the light. Speaking of people, many others, have experiences with when they have their NDEs, and it felt like love. It felt compelling. It felt if I didn't move anywhere and I just stayed still, I could feel the pull of the light kind of pulling me in that direction. But if I wanted to move somewhere, I didn't feel the pull. Like I could go wherever I wanted to go.
Mm.
And I did not, while I was in that experience, I didn't feel as motivated to go to the light as I did just traveling through space. I wanted to just travel through space. And that's pretty much what I did. I would look at something out in front of me, uh, and then the distance between me and it would disappear. I would see something else, the distance between me, and I was just
So
going.
what kind of things were you seeing?
I saw I saw a big rock. It looked like an asteroid. I mean, when I came back, I looked it up and said that it was probably an asteroid based on the description of it.
Hmm.
But it didn't feel alive as other stuff. Like it didn't. It felt like it was just a rock, or you know, just nothing natural that it emanated the same love that everything else.
Mm.
So I stared at that for a while, and it was weird because it was red and it had a strange shape. Like part of it was round, but then it had like a band. I don't know if this came from just damage, slamming into stuff or the elements or whatever. but it had like an area that was like a band that went like halfway around it, and it just kind of floated by. And but I definitely was interested in it. I moved to it, and I turned my attention around, and I was on the opposite side of it, and I looked at it for a minute, and it kept going by,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else was kind of like if I saw a star or a twinkle or anything out in the distance, I would there's a bunch of space would disappear, and then I would be still in space, but just moving, just kind of moving through. Um, there's some stuff that I don't remember, and like there's a whole side of space that I don't remember, and that's weird to me because I remember everything that was to the left and everything that was to in front of me, but everything that was to the right, I don't really remember except for what was up and to the right.
Mm-hmm.
The light was up and to the right, but the space that was over there, I don't really recall what I was seeing. But I think there was stuff there, you know. I might even need to listen to an old like my first couple of interviews and see if I described anything else over there because I don't remember um, much else being to the right of me. But
Mm-hmm.
down and to the left of me was the void. Up and to the left of me and kind of out in front was the star forming region. It covered a big space. And then straight out in front of me was just space. And it was beautiful. A lot of um, the clouds, that like the cotton candy colored clouds. That was around the star forming region. That was some of that kind of just out in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, I didn't other than just the space itself and just wanting to move through it, there wasn't a lot of other details. There wasn't a
Okay.
lot of I didn't see any other beings. I didn't have any other conversation with any other beings. It was all internal kind of dialogue is what it felt like. Um, but everything I saw, I was like, it was like a moment and then the distance between me and the thing disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, a lot of details it was just love. Everything felt like love. I felt like I was a part of it. I felt like love. Um, yeah, and I felt safe. And I think that was the reason why traveling around was so I was um, enticed to do that because I didn't feel like anything in that realm that I was in could harm me. Like I felt
Mm-hmm.
like everything was love. So I didn't have any hesitation to just go and go and go and not even take note of what I was, where I was at
Mm-hmm.
or where I needed to go back to.
Do you like what you just saw? Watch the full video now and make sure you like and subscribe to see even more great videos from me.